Live now.
Okay, you want to go live? I'll bring the my web browser up so I can get into the
Yep, I just now took us
chat.
live. Okay, we'll see when it's okay. It's now just coming up. And of course, it'll take somebody a few, probably take a couple minutes for people to see that, oh, he's live and come in here. So it's not like I scheduled these things so people know about it ahead of time. I dropped the bomb on them, and they know it.
Yep, hang on a tick. I'm just going over to the website and I'll get into the chat.
Oh, wow, we got 4 people in here. Yeah, so we did got somebody in here. That was quick. Yep. Yeah. Okay. We got five. So okay, we got 5 people in here, not less than a minute. Okay. I suppose we got people in here. Anyhow. Yep. So we're gonna talk about the selection day, the phony pony show. You know, the Hollywood act. You know the actors that you call government. You know all them actors up there. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that because I guess today's the day that people are fooling themselves into believing that they have a choice. And they're going right on down there saying, yeah, man, we have a choice and we got to vote. Yep. So if I stuck John Wayne Gacy, Ted Bundy, and Jeffrey Dahmer in front of you, which one are you voting for, huh?
Yeah, pretty much, Phil. Pretty much.
That's it. That's where this comes from.
So
It's
I'll say
crazy.
hello to everyone out there. Nice to be on the show with you today, Bill. This Election Day special. Election
Oh,
Day
yeah.
special.
We're right here on the day of the phoniness, okay? You know, this day of the phoniness where they're going to woos you, but did you pay attention? There's reports out here that they've military has constructed a fence, a tall fence around the White House. Okay, and this I don't know, but I'm not down there to fucking look with my own eyes to see if it's real or if it's a fake report. There's so much lies going on that you have to sift through it all with a goddamn sifter just to get to the truth. So, but if they've, I'm just going to say if because I haven't seen it with my eyes to verify it. If they did put a fence up around the White House with the military in the last few days, then they're getting ready to pull a phony baloney show on you. And it'll be with this so called election. They got Trump saying, I guess, Trump has said it twice already that the invisible enemy isn't going to be, he didn't say it was going away. He said it wasn't going to be talked about much after the 4th. Well, if it's not going to be in mainstream media much at all after the 4th, then that would suggest they got a new show for you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I saw a video earlier this morning around New York and places like that. Everything's boarded up, right? They've boarded up everything. Now, presumably they're showing live footage, right, from New York and places like that. But people have got their plywood up everywhere, and it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah,
I think there's going to be,
I think in this next week is going to be very telling. Okay. And I think, but for Trump to make the statement twice that after the 4th, they won't be, you're not going to, we're not going to be talking about the invisible enemy very much at all anymore. He didn't say it was going away. He said we're not going to be talking about it.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
that right there is a big, big, big hint in your face that something's getting set to go down. And my guess would be it'd have to something to do with this selection.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, my view. People have been asking me, what do I think is going to happen? My own opinion is because what time is it there now?
Well, I'm at 12:05
So
noon.
midday, and it's 1 o'clock on the east coast, and so we got another 6 hours before the polls close. I think on the east, 6 or 7 hours, right?
Probably, yeah.
So my own opinion, and it's just my opinion, is they're going to have the selection. I think they're going to put Trump back in, and I think that the lefties are going to start some level of civil unrest. And
Yeah.
I think that some level of civil unrest could be quite significant. I mean, I think it's going to make what's been going on in Portland and Minneapolis look fairly tame, right?
Oh yeah, definitely,
So
definitely.
so That's what I think.
I think we're getting set to go into a time where you're going to see a whole lot of civil unrest.
Yeah, a very, very possibly. Hang on, I'll say hi. Hi, Doug. Hi, Ron
And
Fan.
Ron Fan is in here as well. I see that. Yep.
Yeah, so I think the civil unrest is going to happen, and they've been broadcasting this. The lefties have been broadcasting. Well, if Trump doesn't leave peacefully, they'll be hell to pay. We'll drag him out of the White House and all the rest of it, right?
Oh yeah.
And and Pelosi was saying things yesterday like, "I stand ready to make sure that the Trump administration leaves, etc., etc." I'm like,
But
this
this
is
is right here's the phony bony dog show because it's just like they got the report right on their mainstream media. Like somehow Trump said if he loses that he's going to refuse to leave the White House, but yet he's never ever said them words. Other
no,
people are putting them words in his mouth and then reporting the words that they put out there, okay, to the public, like as if he has said this because they want people angry.
yeah,
They want civil unrest.
the video clip that they're referring to is when he was asked in the press room, do you commit to a peaceful transition of power? And he said, "We'll see what happens," right? And that's what they're pointing to with that. But at a number of his rallies, he's made the point. They keep asking me about a peaceful transition of power, but look what they did. They didn't have a peaceful transition of power. They spied on us and then had the witch hunt and blah 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 blah. So he has mentioned that quite a few times at his rallies, right?
Yeah, but you got to remember, this all stuff is a Hollywood act and it's in the script, and he's just
Yeah, yeah,
memorizing what he's being told to say, and then he just parrots it like a good little parrot, a good little puppet. And then
yeah.
everybody goes, "Oh, he said that."
Yeah, it's in the script. But the question about these people are saying this stuff, it's all in the script, it's all planned. But the question is, well, what is it that they might have set up that they're going to refer back to these things? Because the way they do it is, then when something happens in the future, they refer back to, well, this is what they said, some weeks or months ago, right? So
Yeah.
the thing is, given what they're saying now, what might be the possible plan? Because whatever's going to happen is planned. The question is second guessing the plan, right?
Well,
That's what we're doing.
I don't think it's going to take too much hard guessing to catch on what's going to go on here. You're going to see them fighting over the vote counts and fighting over this and fighting over that to piss people off, to steer people up and emotions up. You're going to see them probably put some paid fucking protesters in here that are going to be coming in paid by George Soros, Bill Gates, and all the corporations to go in here and do this and this and this that's going to spark civil unrest. And of course, the people on the streets are going to, oh, yeah, I'm with these guys. And they're going to jump right in there, not even knowing what they're going into because they think they know so much. It's sort of like these First Amendment auditors all over YouTube. I'm laughing at them because I'm looking at what's going on right now under their nose and they think they're sticking up for their First Amendment. And I just can't wait because I've tried to show a few of these people, okay, that I had respect for, but they don't want to hear it. Okay, so now they're going to hear it real good. They're going to get
Yeah,
their camera. They're going to go out there thinking they're doing a First Amendment audit. This bill's going to go through the House, and all of your law enforcement around this country and military is going to be schooled on you don't have a First Amendment no more. And these clowns ain't going to know it because they've turned their back and looked the other way and said we're nuts. And they're going to go out there with the camera and they're going to go to jail. Then they're
oh
going to
yeah,
try to
yeah.
figure out, well, wait a minute, my First Amendment. You don't got a First Amendment. Well, yes, I do. No, you've never had a First Amendment. You fell for the scheme and the scam, believing you were a free person when you was never free because you never stood up for yourself.
Yep, that's where we're headed. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, I'm lucky I'm not in the middle of it, right? But it's going to be interesting. I think there's going to be civil unrest. I think it's going to make Portland and Minneapolis look like a bit of a picnic. You're going to have the so-called Antifa and so-called Black Lives Matter, and
Yes.
maybe a few other groups will turn up for the looting and the burning and things like that.
Well,
Yeah, but
I figured
liberation.
I figure this coming here next few months, you're gonna watch, of course, with the selection. They already know who won because it's all selected long before, and Trump was selected to be in the position he's in. And but they got to put a Ponzi show in front of you. They did it with Hillary. They did it with Joe Biden. They're gonna put him in. They're gonna strip civil unrest. But what people really ain't paying attention to is not just civil unrest. It's the fact it can give them the excuse because he's never stopped the propaganda from being reported, but he's screaming about he's tired of fake news when he is the fake news. Okay?
Yeah,
Then you got the fact that we have food processing plants and crops, California's crops, down on the freaking the down south, their crops wiped out. Iowa, crops wiped out. So what you're going to run into is a situation when winter hits here. And then, of course, I'm looking at all these lines and looking at Agenda 21 and looking at my town, and they haven't trimmed trees away from lines in probably 5 years. Okay,
yeah,
and when
yeah,
I called the power company to say something about that, they played dumb with me like they knew, well, we'll get a work order in. And of course, you don't see nothing happening because no, it's deliberately done.
yeah,
In the
yeah,
wintertime, you're going to be January, February down here. And what's going to happen is they're going to use weather warfare and they're going to create a nice little ice storm that's going to stick to all the branches and some nice heavy wet snow after it. And these branches are going to collapse on these lines, power out, power out, power out, power out. And then on top of that, of course, now because we're always one season behind when it comes to the groceries in the store, well, this season's crops have been wiped out. Oh shit, the shelves are empty again. So yeah, you better be stocking up on food.
yeah, yeah.
And I
It
would
puts it.
suggest stocking up on water too, because if too much power goes down, you ain't gonna be able to pump gas. Power's out, right? So you ain't gonna be
Yeah,
pumping gas. So the city's generators that keep the water going when the power's out, well shit, we're out of gas. You got no water in your house now. Isn't that nice?
yeah, yeah. It's just for the audience. I mean, we were talking before we came on that there's going to be a whole range of things. There's going to be the vaccine. There's going to be more
Yes.
bug. There's going to be weather warfare. There's going to be some earthquakes and etc. etc.
Yes.
And all that stuff is going to happen, and it's going to lead to some civil unrest. And once you have the civil unrest, then you start talking about food shortages and water shortages. And once you get into food and water shortages, you start to get into real problems.
Now you get into people panicking that, well, Peter, that said I was nuts. That said you were nuts. That said
Yeah,
that
yeah,
people that tried to tell them and show them, you got made in fun of me. You didn't give a crap. You turned your back. You looked the other way. Now, when it actually happens, you're going to go, oh, and then you ain't ready because you didn't get ready because you're an idiot, because you thought you were so smart and they were so dumb, because you fell for the illusion, the mirage. And them are the people that you're going to look out for because they're going to be dangerous. Because them
yeah,
people are
yeah.
going to be breaking into people's houses, home invasions to steal and kill. Because,
Yeah, get the
well, I ain't got no food, I ain't got no water, and I got kids. Okay, and the stores ain't got none. Okay, this is what you're going to see happen.
yeah, yeah. You're gonna see men need food and water, and sometimes for their women and their children, and they're gonna go take it.
Yeah, and they're going to
Basically,
go
they're gonna
take it
go
at
take it.
gunpoint, maybe get killed trying to take it, and somebody else will get killed while they get their stuff taken.
Oh
This is
yeah,
what's going to, you think that you're going to call the authorities to protect you. What do you mean they never showed up? Yeah, this is what you're talking about. Uh huh.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And there's precedent. This happened in the Ukraine and Russia in the 1920s when they had no food. The whole in Russia when they had no food, guys would just go to houses and take whatever food they had in the house, and if anybody resisted, they just killed them.
That's
And
it. That's
that
exactly
happened
it, man. They're
a
gonna
lot.
come in to take whatever you got. You're gonna have to be ready to kill them motherfuckers because if you don't, they're gonna kill you. And you can
Yeah.
call the cops all day long. They're not gonna be there for you. You know what how cops work? They show up after the crime's already been committed.
Oh,
They'll
nowadays
already
they
be
don't even.
gone with the food, maybe hours ago, before the police show up. Oh, what happened? Oh, okay. And meanwhile, the people at the top are going, "Yep, good job, guys."
Yeah, but like in the UK yesterday, was it yesterday or Sunday? It was Sunday, right? Sorry, I told that was Sunday. I mean, the UK, the police is so overstretched. They're not investigating home burglaries anymore, right? We just don't have
Oh
enough
no.
police to go after the home burglaries. But there was a dozen police arrest Tommy Robinson on Sunday at a protest about having to wear masks, and Tommy Robinson wasn't wearing a mask. And there was a dozen police just to arrest him, and there's like 30 or 40 other police standing around at this thing, but they don't have enough police officers to go investigate home invasions. That's where we're headed, right? We've got plenty of police officers to throw you in jail because you're not wearing your face nappy, but we don't have any police officers to come around and investigate that someone came in and stole all your food.
Oh
That's not
yeah.
that's not going to be a
Well,
problem,
you
right?
know who London Rail on YouTube is? London Rail.
Yeah.
Okay, Brian Ross or whatever you want to call his name.
Mm.
Okay. So he comes up and he's doing this video and he's interviewing the so-called gym owner. Okay.
Yeah.
And he's talking about your health and this gym is blah blah blah, and that 7 cops showed up there and make him shut it down, and that this gym owner fought back, and this gym owner beat the elite, and he gets to blah blah blah, right? And then this gym owner's saying, well, and he's talking about their mainstream media over there, BBC and shit, and he says, well, if we could just, I mean, your fitness and being in a gym is good, blah, blah, blah. If we could just get them to use the TV station 1 hour a day, then people could do their exercises. So what they're really saying is you need 1 hour a day because you're in prison in your own home. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Meanwhile, he's running for mayor. So you see what he's done here. And then no, here's the really good one. Anybody that's ever paid attention to anything, they love symbolism, they love numbers, and they love colors. These
Yep.
are the 3 things. If you're awake at all, you know this. And so, what does purple stand for, Peter?
Purple, isn't that gay or something?
No.
What's the
Purple is
purple?
for deception. If
Oh, they're
you
using
pay
it for that. Okay.
attention to 9/11, if you pay
Yeah.
attention to Handy Crook, the school
Yeah.
shooting,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Parkland school shooting, if you pay attention to these phony baloney military exercise drills, when they were reported mainstream, didn't matter what mainstream channel you went to, Fox, ABC, CNN, CBS, don't matter. The reporters all either had a purple tie on or she had a purple blouse on. They were all wearing purple, okay? So here's Mr. Ross doing this interview while he's got his nice suit on with a nice big purple tie and a purple hanky all folded up neatly, sticking in your face out there at you because it's deception. It's
Oh,
not even
okay.
real. What they're doing is fooling people, and then he tried to tell people that this is going global. Everybody's fighting back. Hold on. Woo, pretty big. Yeah, sure you're not.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's the amount of censorship against anybody who's actually doing anything useful is just overwhelming. You can't talk to many people if you're actually saying something useful or doing something useful. You don't get to talk to many people.
Oh no, you're pushed down, you're taken off YouTube, you're pushed down, you're suppressed, you're attacked, because nobody wants to be lied to, but nobody wants truth neither.
Yeah, yeah. The truth is just way too uncomfortable. So yeah, that's what I see happening in the short term over there. I think there's going to be some fairly significant civil unrest. I wish not, but I rather think so. Right? That's kind of
Yeah, I
the
would like
the
to
way I
see
look at it.
there not be, but it don't take a rocket scientist to figure out what's happening right in their face, and anybody that's even got a lick of a brain and even uses one brain cell should know this. And
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
don't know it by now with what's been playing in your face, I cannot feel sorry for whatever happens to you because you damn well deserve it.
yeah, yeah. Well, they were reporting on RT this week that the Russian government is looking to sell 1 billion doses of the Sputnik 5 vaccine, right? And so that Sputnik 5 vaccine will go to the so-called third world countries, etc. Right?
Yeah.
And so they're making a big thing of it on RT. The RT reporters have had the vaccine and as part of the trials, etc. And it's quite a big running story
So
on
they
RT.
have the jab.
Yeah, the reporters have had the jab as part of the trial, right?
Right, right.
And now it's gone into full mass production, and they reckon they can make 1 billion doses of it over the next 12
Right.
months.
There'll be lots of jabs going on. There'll be lots of sheep running down there. Here, jab me. Oh, jab me, and okay, go ahead and stick me right here. I don't mind.
Yeah. No,
Meanwhile, it comes down to simple. If people just look, they'd find out that these companies, well, they're above the rules. You can't prosecute or sue for anything that goes wrong with the jab. And if they're
yeah, yeah.
above the rules and can't be prosecuted or sued, and they're not giving it to their own family members or selves, but expect you to take it, huh?
Oh yeah,
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 uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this
Not.
is one of the things we talked about for the audience before we came on board. Before we came on today was, will the jab be mandatory or not mandatory? And there's a lot of discussion over that. And my own opinion is that I don't think they'll make it mandatory because enough people are going to take it voluntarily. Now, if enough people don't take it voluntarily, then they might use coercion, like, you can't get your driver's license, you can't get your digital currency or something, or you can't travel, or there's some things that you start getting restrictions on if you haven't got your little vaccination certificate, right?
Oh, well, yeah, they want that vaccination certificate. They want everybody to have that, okay? I mean, that's going to be important because we know that we couldn't be here today if it wasn't for these jabs, okay? Though I think about it, I go back a couple 100 years and there was no such thing as a jab, and we're here.
And we're still here. Yeah,
How did we
that's
get
right.
here? Come on, you couldn't make it without the jab, but how did you get here now? Huh?
Yeah, yeah,
Please explain yourselves. Oh, they don't want to do that. I mean, what do you think they won't do a debate? Do you think you
yeah.
could get any of these creeps to do an actual real debate with somebody who knew what they're talking about? No,
Oh, no, no.
no, no way.
There's not going to be any public debate with anybody telling the truth about anything. Right? That's not going to make it off YouTube, right?
The
That discussion.
closest debate you get will probably be masturbate.
Yeah, you might have a few mass debates.
Right,
Yes,
right.
but
That's
that's
about
that's
that's
not
about as
happening.
close as you're gonna get. So kick on your porn and go ahead and have a bait.
That's not happening. But like one of the larger MGTOW channels, Meg 101. He he's now talking more about all this stuff, and I'm saying, Megas, you're like 10 or 11 years too late. The time to talk about this stuff was 10 or 11 years ago. The time to do something about this stuff was 10 or 11 years ago. Talking about it now, there was one post he put up because he's from Australia, right? Megas is from Australia, and there's a new job was listed in Melbourne as the executive director of the vaccination program, right? For like $200,000 a year, and they're actually advertising for this job. And I put a comment saying, "Wow, that I would so love to get that job to vaccinate all these people who were so happy to see all these men criminally abused for so long." And these other guys are going, "Hey, isn't that a bit rough saying you'd like to vaccinate all those people?" I'm like, nah, hell, I want to get rid of these people. These people thought it was okay to criminally abuse men for years and years and years. They should be vaccinated. And then the comments are like, there's a weird logic about that, right? Like
A
all
care
these people,
jab. That would be called a care jab.
a care jab,
Yeah,
yeah, they're like, there's a weird logic. Yep, all these
because you
people have
care.
supported, all these people have supported the women, they supported the police, they supported the courts, they supported the government for a long, long time, despite guys like me screaming in their face saying you should stop this. And now you get the chance to give them a jab. There's a kind of logic in that, kind of come up. It's
Oh
kind of
yes.
a fair play in that. And so the guys are actually going, you might actually have a point with that. I'm like, yeah, yeah. I think these people, like, I've been such a high profile figure in Australia for so long, and so many people have hated on me. I'm like, yeah, take your jab, off you go. And they're like, well, what are we going to do? And I'm saying, well, what you should do is you should listen to people like me 12 years ago, right? And same in the US. What should people do? Oh, listen to guys like you 12 years
I've
ago.
been
But they
speaking.
didn't.
I've been speaking for a long time, and I'll tell you what. I got a few people that listen and understand what I'm saying, but the majority hate my guts.
Oh yeah, yeah. The vast majority hate your guts, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not liked by a lot of people, and I'm attacked regularly because of that. Hell, I even got the privilege to have upper echelons attacking me. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
so I mean, I guess I'm really loved. I mean, because in today's society, I guess that is the new love, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's hatred and persecution and lies and slander. I'll tell your audience a good one. I was in a live chat last night in Ireland, and the really big issue. I mean, Bill, you've got to understand, right? There's a really big issue in Ireland. It's super huge. It's the most important thing to talk about. The fact that women have to wear face masks in stores,
Oh
right?
no,
The,
you
this is
mean
it.
a female would have to put a diaper on her face?
Yeah, and this was the big issue of the discussion that the women have to wear these face masks. And I'm saying, yeah, what about all the men who are committing suicide? And there's people going, look, we're sick to death of you talking about the divorce courts. We're sick to death of you about men talking about suicide. We want to talk about the real issue of the day, and that's this mandatory face mask legislation. And I'm like, yeah, that's what you'd really want to talk about, the mandatory face mask legislation versus the male suicide epidemic. Don't want to talk about that, right?
I should be over there. I'll tell you why, because where I'm at, and I mean, it's sort of cool, like Halloween night. Okay, we had 81 children hit my door, and
Really, really.
yes, so we passed out candy, and they were keeping track. So Pam and Anthony are out there writing down how many kids came to the door this time, how many this time, and started doing the math on it from the very first children to hit the door. So in an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes time before no more showed up, there was 81 kids at my door. And they were coming in packs and groups, and most of them didn't have no mask on at all, not even a Halloween mask, because they're probably tired of wearing a muzzle in school. So they're just showing up at the door, and they're all butt together, and I says, awesome, that's what I like to see, okay? But then I can go 2.5 blocks from my house to the store over there, and the big sign on the window says, "You cannot shop in here if you're not wearing one of these," right? And so I walk right on in there, and I get what I'm getting. The first time I did that, the gal at the back was looking at me. No, there is not a call from there. So bye. Anyhow, so I go in the store, and I'm at the back of the store, and I'm getting what I want. And this gal that works there looks at me. No, this is a female. You can't shop in here if you're not wearing a blah blah blah. And I looked at her, so you are a Nazi. I fucking
Yeah.
right in her face said it. So you are a Nazi. I got up front and I told these three women behind the counter at the service counter, well, we can sell you one for $5 and pulls it out. And I says, oh, so you are three Nazis. Oh, they got pissed when I said that to them, and all three of these women left from behind the counter, and the one threw the damn mask at me without saying where's the $5, right? I grabbed up the mask, didn't put it on, walked over, grabbed some batteries, and went through the register and paid for the batteries, walked out and dropped that mask right in the garbage can. Okay? Yeah, you're not doing it. I'm not doing it. I go into Wally World, Walmart, and I walk in there, and I got a freaking muzzle on my face, and the person will say, where's your mask? And I just keep right on going.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Well, you
where my
see,
mask is at. See this? This is where my mask is at. See that middle finger? Uh-huh. Yep.
yeah. But the thing I love, you see, is the women are real order followers. They love to have rules, and they love to be applying rules to everybody else, right?
Yeah.
You know how the women love to tell you to obey the rules, right? Although when they break the rules, it's got nothing to do with them.
Oh, well,
And,
because you got to understand, she's above the rules, but you're a guy. You're not
yeah,
above the
yeah,
rules.
you're
No.
not about the rules. But now that they're going to come out with the vaccine, etc., etc. Oh well, to obey the rules, you're going to have to get your shot. I mean, one of the things they will do, you can bet your bottom dollar on this. I would put, I'd say my house, but I don't have one because they took it off me. But you can put your house on the fact that all the government employees, if you want to keep your government employee job, well, you're going to have a shot, right? You're going to have a jab to keep your government employee.
I think that's probably going to be in most of all of the corporation companies. You're going to be required to have that if you want to keep your job, and you're
Yeah,
going to still have to have the diaper on your face, okay? I mean, it's not going away. Don't plan on the diaper on your face going away anytime soon. That's here to stay.
Yeah, it's going to be here for a while.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to bet any amount of money that in most countries, to keep your government job, you're going to have to get the jab. And what's the percentage of women in those cushy government jobs in most Western countries? Well, that's about 80%, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Something like that. 75, 80% of government jobs are held by women now. If you took out the military, if you said, okay, let's discount the military and the police from government jobs and just looked at the public sector minus, firemen, military, police, it's closer to 90% of those nice, cushy, air conditioned indoor government jobs are women. And I think they're going to have to take the jab to keep that job.
I would agree with you. I think that's exactly what we're going to see being playing out. Okay,
Yep.
because there's a reason they want you to have the jab. Okay, there's a really good reason behind it. Have you
Oh,
ever heard
yeah.
of the technology called nanotechnology?
Yeah. It's all. They're going to be sticking little nanobots in you, and those little nanobots are going to be programmable and responsive.
Yes,
Right?
sir.
That's what they're gonna be.
And once you get them in you, I don't worry if you can leave your cell phone at home. I mean, right now people think they got their smartphone, they're smart. Yeah, you've been outsmarted. Military technology, that's what you've been. And now you leave your phone at home thinking, nah, you're not gonna be able to track me. Well, if you got them nanobots in you, they know where you're at every moment of the day.
Oh yeah. I mean, I suspect I don't know exactly what they're going to put in. This won't be the last jab, right? There'll be a series of pandemics. There'll be a
Well, you know
series of
what I've
jabs.
heard with this jab is that there's a follow up to the jab. You have to have two of these jabs before you have your final dose, right? And
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be more jabs after that because they got to keep it going. They got to keep. And why do you think you got to have a passport proving that you got your jabs?
Yeah. I mean, I think I told you last time that the couple of weeks ago already, they were talking in the UK Parliament about restricting travel for anybody who wasn't vaccinated. So you couldn't go out of the country if you weren't
Oh well,
vaccinated, right?
the actual real goal behind this is you ain't gonna even be able to travel outside the city you live in. You
Yeah.
ain't gonna be able.
Eventually,
You won't be able to go to the town that's 5 miles down the road.
yeah.
You'll
the
have to stay in your own damn city because you didn't have a jab. Matter of fact, you probably wouldn't be able to go outside your house.
Yeah, there's
They're
the
gonna,
there's the question of how many people take the jab voluntarily, and if it's not enough for their liking, how much coercion are they going to apply to other people to take the jab? That's kind of the
well,
question that's going on.
the sad thing is people love, especially like you said, women. They love to please other people. You won't even need
Yeah,
the authorities because the order followers, the brain dead, the zombies, are going to try to tell you. It'll be no different than when I was leaving Walmart and the gal that checks the receipts, she's got her diaper on her face and she's telling me because I'm not wearing one, stand back, keep 6 foot. I don't want to get sick from you.
yeah, that's right.
Okay, so there's your mentality.
Yeah, and it's the old thing. If you've had the vaccine, why would you be worried about me giving it to you? Because doesn't the vaccine work? Doesn't it give you
Well,
protection through this?
that's just the
But
whole freaking. That's what's so hysterical about this entire thing. Okay, even the so-called flu shot. I've never had one in my life, and I won't have one.
hmm,
But every year you got to get one. Well, why would you have to get one every year? Well, it protects me from the flu. And then you watch some of these people get the shot and go home and get the flu because it was in the shot. And
yeah,
now they're
yeah,
sick and they can't figure out, well, it protected you.
yeah,
Fucking
yeah.
idiots.
Yep, they're not very, and I mean they're relying on the fact that most people are not very smart.
Oh, I'm not bad. I
So
see Truth for Sweeties in here. And yes, I'm not doing too bad. I hope you're doing good.
yeah, so that's basically how I see it going. And if it gets to the point of civil unrest and water shortages and food shortages, we've seen how that goes. That goes like the Ukraine and Russia in the 1920s and Ukraine 1930s. It's not pretty.
It's going to get to
Not
that
pretty.
point, I don't think I can tell people, and I tell people this all the time. I've been saying this for several months. You better be stocking up on food and you better be stocking up on water. And I've been saying this for a long time, but I look at people that I've said it to and they're not doing it. They're not doing it because they know I'm nuts.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
that ain't my problem. That's theirs. And I will be ready if you think you come into my place to take my food because you ears and your brain don't work.
yeah, yeah.
You
That
better
will
be
see.
ready to get yourself hurt trying it because it's not my fault you're dumb. That's your fault.
Yeah, yeah. So I think in some areas it could come to that. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see some areas where it came to that.
Well, I don't think it'd be a wise idea to be where I'm at just because I'm in the targeted country.
Yeah, but you didn't have much of a choice. But there's other countries that are in a very similar position to the US.
Well, they
We were
are,
talk.
that's, but that's just because this is NWO.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, so of course there is. But I mean, what part of this can't people figure out? What do you think George Floyd was real? What do you think
Uh,
this shit is real? What you think this crap is real? The only thing that's real is it's NWO. The only thing that's
yeah.
real is you're not going to escape it. You might be in a spot on this earth where it'll take longer to get to you and you'll buy more time, okay? But you ain't going to get out of it unless you got that spaceship you haven't told me about. Then you better pick me up on the way by, damn it.
Yeah, like we said last time, if you got a ticket on the Enterprise, pick me up, Scotty. Or beam me up,
Oh,
Scotty.
that's it. I don't care. If you could find that spaceship, I want you to pick me up on the way by and get me the hell off this planet because I think I crashed landed here and I don't know how I got here. I can't even find my ship. I just know there's way too many zombies surrounding me.
Yeah, there's way too many fools down here. The old line, there's no intelligent life down here. So
No, no, if you're looking for intelligent life, you came to the wrong planet. Please get me out of here. I'd rather go where you're at because there ain't no intelligent life down here.
yeah, well, this is what I was talking about. 5 or 6 years ago, after I gave up in 2014, I said, okay, well, we gave it our best shot, and does not look like we're winning this argument. And I decided, well, I think I'll leave, and I left the West. And I'm in that boat of I'm just hoping it's going to take a little longer to get here, so that I'm 57 next birthday. Another 10, maybe 15 years, I'd be happy with that. That'd be a good innings. So we'll see. So I'm in the boat of I've had a good life up to this point in time. It'd be nice if it carried on a little bit longer. But
Well,
the
would you vote for yourself in this selection day? This selection day that we're in right now.
well, there'd be no point voting for myself because I wouldn't have any influence over what happened anyway, right?
Well, I would rather vote for myself and stay the hell away from all these creeps up there. Now, so well, what good's that gonna do you? At least I didn't fall for the pony and dog show. I voted for myself, and myself said, "Stay the hell away from these nuts."
Yeah, yeah, that's right. But the thing I feel sorry for the young guys coming through. If you're between the boys have got no chance, but if you're like 18 to 30, your outlook is not so great right now, right? The outlook for guys at 18 to 30, it's not a pretty outlook right now. Guys in the Western countries.
If you're 18 to 30, your life's over. I'm telling you, it ended when you turned 18.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. It's
I
gonna be
mean,
tough.
there's gonna be nothing easy for anybody, but I'm tell you what's coming down the pikes isn't going away and it isn't stopping. It's escalating.
Oh
That's what's
yeah,
happening. It's going to escalate. It's going to get worse and worse. You got a lot of people think as soon as this selection day that I mean, it's just amazing. Here I am on a live stream with Peter on selection day.
yeah, yeah.
Instead of just
It's selection.
before selection day, we do it on selection day.
Yeah, but I mean, I was watching, I was overdosing on the Trump campaigns and watching all this going on, and I'm just like, man, there's so many people who actually believe this makes a
Well,
difference.
that's why you got to vote for yourself because you vote not to be that stupid. Only vote for yourself because I have voted for myself because I'm not that stupid.
Mm.
If you're going down to that freaking building and you're putting out a ballot and going ching, 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 or anything like that, you're an idiot. What can I say?
Yeah, it's amazing. But there was some young chick uh, mouthing off at me on YouTube comments this week, and she's just bashing me, blah blah blah. And I said, like, how old are you? Like, what are you doing? How old are you? She says she's 23 and she's finishing off her master's or something. And she's really stressed because the professor hasn't gotten back to her recently. And she's really stressed about doing this master's.
Also,
And,
she's 23 years old and now she's being dumbed up. Okay, I
and,
understand. She
and,
has a
and
lot of
I,
life experience, Peter, so I don't know how you would handle somebody so intelligent.
yeah, and I said to her, "You're 23 and stressed about your your dissertation on your master's and your professor not talking to you." And I just said, have you ever heard of the Committee of the 300 and the depopulation program? If I was you and going to be stressed, I'd be stressed about the depopulation program if I was 23 years old. I think that would be the right thing to be stressed about, right?
Well,
That's just like,
no, for her, it's probably she's more stressed over not getting one of her wants. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it's a
that's right.
tragedy if she didn't get one of her wants.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it was just so funny how she's bad mouthing me and all the rest of it. And I'm like, I've already lived my life, right? I've already lived one of the most privileged lives a man has ever lived.
Well, I can't
And,
say I've lived a privileged life, but I have lived my life and I've done a lot of things in my life, you know, and I have a lot of life experience in a lot of different areas. I guess I
yeah,
got a couple of years behind me, and
you've
I,
lived a good life,
I
right?
mean, I figured another month from now I'll be 6 years old because I refuse to be 6 0. So what is 6 plus 0? 6. I'm damn right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you and I grew up in a time where we were very aware that there could be another large war, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
if there was another large war, you and I grew up in the time where, yeah, if there's another large war, we'd be off, right? We'd be off in that large war because when we were kids, there was a lot of men around who had been in the last war,
Well,
right?
and then you got the fact that they like to pull the draft, okay? And I
Yeah,
always like to say, if you want to have a draft, go to the zoo, because I'll tell you what, you morons who say, well, we're gonna have to draft you and force you.
yeah,
No, unless your children are going to see this middle finger.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
In
not
fact,
fighting your fight. That's the equivalent of Bruce Lee still alive. I kick him in the nuts and say, okay, defend me, Peter. Well, if Peter defends me, Peter's an idiot. If Peter says to Bruce, get him, Peter's got a brain.
so he kicks you. I'm not defending you. Yeah, something like that.
Exactly. See, so really what's going on here is you need to defend me. And in the entire time, it's all 13 families who are practicing using you to steal resources and tell you that you're fighting for your country. You're fighting for your liberty. You're blah, 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 blah. And all of it's
Yeah,
nothing but a hogwash story. I mean, they said it straight to your face. Military is nothing but useless pawns for political gain.
yeah, yeah. That's a chess game. One of the things you got to love, or right through this election campaign, is talking about. We stand with our law enforcement officers and our military and all the rest of it. There's been a lot of talk about that, but there's been no talk about okay, the law enforcement and the military is still predominantly men. But as soon as some woman makes a false allegation against them, oh, that guy we don't care about, right? We really care about him as long as he's ready to go and fight other people or kill other people and protect us. But as soon as some woman makes a false allegation against that guy, well, we don't care about him quite so much then, right? Do we?
Yeah, well, and I see my last comment, and belongs to Israel, and I say no, it belongs to 13 families. I don't care about that place called Israel because they're also controlled by the 13 families,
Yeah, that's just
and
part
they're
of it.
and they're all bankers. They're the ones that own that tool that you all sold out for.
Mm.
You know that tool that you'll throw somebody else under the bus for? You know, because you got to compete against each other.
Yep.
And you
Yeah.
can't get it through their head as they're competing against each other that actually has divided people.
Yeah.
Okay?
You got your teams, right?
Yeah,
You got your teams and your groups, and you're fighting against each other, and it's divide and conquer.
it
And
is.
well, they're running the game, and people are fighting against each other and divide and conquer.
Well,
And anybody,
but the thing is there's so many lies being told and so much deception from every angle for the last umpteen decades. And I'm talking way back.
oh
Okay?
yeah,
And people grab onto the illusion they want to believe when they try to tell people how much they know. But they're not smart enough to figure out if you looked at the 13 families who own the monetary systems globally, okay, that they've used this to get people where they've got them right now. And you'll be arguing over, well, have you ever heard of this? Have you ever heard of that? If you do this, you do that, you know. It's these people, it's like these people that point at all the Jews. It's the Jews. And then you got the other people. It's these people. No, it's them people. Meanwhile, the real people are right under your nose and you can't see them because you're not looking.
yeah. I mean, this goes back at least 5,000 years. You could probably go back further, but when you think, well, we could go back 5,000 years. That's probably far enough, right? You could argue what happened before then, but it's really very pointless arguing what
It
happened
is, it
further
is,
back,
it
right?
totally is, and this is just it. They give you what they want you to grab onto.
Yeah,
You have to understand that they deliberately do this as smoke and mirrors. They can't have you know who they are, so they give you somebody else. And they always do this over and over and over. They'll create this, they'll create that, they'll create this, they'll create that. Okay? Where do you think all the information you ever grab onto comes from? They're putting it out here for you to find. And the
yeah,
ones
that's
who
it.
get closest to the truth that's over and over them are the ones they will take out and attack.
Yeah. I mean, until fairly recently, like 2010 or so, I mean, they were killing the people who were blowing the whistle or throwing them in jail for a long term. Now, at least they're just banning us off YouTube and
Yeah.
giving us a hard time,
Well,
not
it's like
shooting
the
somebody
Bible.
on
I
us.
see them bring the Bible up, and I see this all the time, and just for the life of me, you know, I did a video yesterday, and I played a 38-minute clip of David Icke. Well, he told the whole truth and nothing but the truth in that video, and it was on religion. It was on religion, okay? And
Yeah.
I know this, and I know that to be all truth. See, the one thing I will say about David Icke, even though we know he works for the establishment, his job was to tell you truth. And
Yeah.
he's been
99% of it.
yep, 99% of his is actual truth. And he's
Yeah.
been saying it. When I look at it for what it really is, because that's the reason I stuck it in there. They can't figure out, well, no, the Bible said this would happen, and look, it's happening. Well, if I was the elite and I wrote the script called the Bible or the Quran, and I wrote the script years in advance, and I put it out there and fooled you into your loving God, who, by the way, you're going to burn in hell if you don't do as I say, because I love you. Okay? Your
Yeah.
loving illusion in the sky, George Carlin told you all about it, okay, and he wasn't lying. They have used that to sink you down the rabbit hole, and so many people go for it. So you got people like Days and Noah and people on YouTube that are awake to what's going on around them, but they're not able to see through the illusion of the Bible. And it just blows me away how you cannot see through the illusion because the illusion is right in your face. First off, if we would kill our very own Creator's child, we would actually kill our very own Creator's child. What the hell makes you think we wouldn't change the Creator's words? Then they'll be stupid and they'll say something like this to you, Peter, because them words are protected and they can't change them.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of people who believe in the Bible. There's a lot of people who believe in the Quran. And what happened? A lot of people say the institutions were corrupted, and that's not so. The institutions were created by these people,
Yes,
and they were designed to do exactly what they're doing now.
exactly.
They,
It's like they told you for years that the church and the government were separate. BS. BS alert. Okay, that's first big
yeah,
lie right in your face. They were never separate. Okay, then you got the other one. This is a great one. You got what I was taught as a child. Because when I was a child, I didn't have say so. My parents did. So we went to church every Sunday, and I had to go there early because we had Sunday school. So I had to do an hour of Sunday school and then go to church, then home every Sunday, right? So they teach me God created the earth, God created man, or not animal. He put animal here first after he created the earth. Then he created Adam, the first man on earth, because now remember, he just created the earth and he put animal here first, and he put Adam here. But Adam was lonely, so he stole a rib from Adam and created Eve. Now he's got a mate. All right. So that means we're all brothers and sisters globally because there's only two humans on Earth. Then I'm thinking about this. What if they were Chinese with slanted eyes? Where the hell did I come from? What if they were black people? Where did I come from? Well, if you live in a tropical climate long enough, I know people who've lived in a tropical climate their whole life, they're still not black.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, those were metaphors that I remember waking up to the idea. I can't remember if it was David Icke or somebody else was talking about David Icke or Michael Sari and saying the Bible was written on two levels: one for the sheeple, to the sheeple read it, and two, it's actually the instruction manual for the local pastor on how to manage the flock. And if you read it, it's actually literal when he's talking about, the shepherd looks after the sheep. It's a literal interpretation of the Bible is the instruction manual for the pastor.
It is.
And
It's always been about control.
yeah,
Control.
and
Control. That's what it's about.
yeah,
And if you pay attention to NWO, guess what they've created with NWO? A one world religion.
yeah, they're headed towards
That
one world
means
religion.
you're throwing away all the other religions.
The new
Ah,
religion, the
yeah.
new religion is government, right? That's
Yeah.
government is
It
the
is
new
a
religion.
one world religion. A matter of fact, that was instigated, started. I know exactly what town or what city and what state is responsible for the one world religion, and that would be Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Why is
In,
that?
in Kalamazoo, Michigan, there is a building that's shaped as a pyramid. And there's a guy that heads it off for NWO, and he's a 33-degree Mason. He
Okay.
owned TV stations, radio stations, this and this, and he's big. And when you read his entire story, you looked into it. I dug deep into this back with Jerry, and it's correct. They even had a YouTube channel here on TV, on YouTube TV. And when you really dug into it and looked, this is exactly where it's coming out of. And they pay people because they're getting financed by the banksters, and they recruit people from all over the country, all over the world. Okay,
Okay.
this is the one world religion being pushed in your face right there.
Yeah. There'll be this new one world religion. There'll be one currency. They're all headed down in that direction. I'm just hoping they'll head down that direction slowly enough that I won't have to live through most of it.
I
We shall
understand
see.
that. Hey, talk
We shall
talk to
see.
the people a minute. Let me go get something quick, okay?
Okay. So what I was thinking about another thing that I saw this week. This woman was talking to me in a YouTube chat, fellas, and this was after the election in Queensland in Australia, and they re-elected the lefty government. And I said that, well, re-electing these people is a pretty good demonstration that the sun makes your brain go bad in Queensland. So anyhow, hang on, this woman said something to me and gave me a hard time. And I said, look, I left Australia. I'm never coming back. And she's good. Misogynists like you should be out of the country, blah, 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 blah. And she threw some rubbish at me, gave me a hard time. And so then I said, well, yeah, okay, so you can criticize me. But guess what? In 1999 in Australia, I earned $210,000. I paid $91,000 in income taxes. Oh, and by the way, one of my other projects I did down there was to help detect drugs through the customs service, saving thousands of young Australian lives. And then I said, but if you don't want my $91,000 in income taxes, if you don't want me to save thousands of Australian lives, you're welcome to all your Muslim immigrants who are going to live on welfare. And surprise, surprise, she didn't have an answer for that. Because, you know, in Australia now, we actually have, hundreds of thousands of, quote, new Australians. And particularly, we have a lot of Somali immigrants. And most of them are living on welfare, right? And these people just keep voting for the same bunch of idiots who are bringing all this stuff in and not listening. So it's like, yeah, I'm a misogynist. You hate me. That's fine. I don't live there. By the way, you can have your Islamic immigrants or your Muslim immigrants, and you can pay for them on welfare. Not much of an answer for that. Didn't have much of a discussion about that one. So it's really great now to be now that most people are waking up and saying, "Oh, there's something very wrong around here," right? It's really nice to be trolling them and just say, "Yeah, there is something pretty wrong around here, and maybe you should have listened to me 10 or 12 years ago." But such is life.
Yeah. Well, the thing is they've done a great job, a really great job at dividing people up and the genders up,
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
and so many so-called men who play into the double standards and bend over and take it in the rear and hit themselves in the head with a hammer, all for their opposite gender. And we got all these double standards that allowed it to become corrupt for division. We could have never have successfully gotten where they're at if we did not divide up the family unit. Because if men and women were actually together and on the same page, we would have saw what was going on a long time ago and stopped it.
yeah. Well, we didn't even need women on the same page. We just needed women not to attack us using the
Well,
government.
that's what I
So
mean by being on the same page, okay?
yeah,
In other
if
words, you wouldn't be being attacked. You'd be able to be together. You'd be able to blah, blah, blah. And you wouldn't be dumping on one another. So therefore, you'd be more aware of what was actually going on around
Yeah, I was on Parler. One of my comments on Parler this week was with this Tommy Robinson thing, and this woman was abusing the police. There was this video of Tommy Robinson being arrested, and there's this woman abusing the police who were arresting him. And I'm saying, you stupid bitch! You women have demanded the exact same police, not different police officers.
you.
Those police officers.
Yeah.
You've demanded the ability to lie to them to get them to come into our homes and assault us and arrest us in our own homes. Now you're criticizing this happening in the street. So you women have been doing this for 20 years. And the argument is, well, I didn't do it personally. Well, maybe you didn't do it personally, but you stood by and said absolutely nothing
But you're complicit, right?
when millions of other women did it. Right?
Exactly. You're complicit, ain't you? Well,
Yeah, yeah.
I want to fit in. I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to. I don't want them to call me names or hate on me. So I better
Yeah.
zip my mouth and censor myself, right?
Well, the argument
Howard.
is always, well, I didn't do it personally, so I didn't do anything wrong. And then you say, well, you're part of the community, you should stand up for what's right. Well, just because a man's if something happens to a man, that doesn't mean I should do anything about it. And I always come back with the argument. So if you were walking down the street and some guy jumped out and tried to mug you and grab your handbag, would you expect men to come to your rescue? He says, well, of course, that's what the men should
Well, of
do.
course, that's what a man's supposed to do. And then when the guy tried to defend you, he defends you and gets stabbed and killed. And what do? Oh, that's right. We walk away and leave you to bleed out and die. We don't give a flying F if you bled out. We
Yeah,
won't even call an ambulance for you because we don't care about you.
yeah.
Because after
And
all,
so,
you are just a guy, right? You're not even a
yeah.
human.
So always the argument is, well, if you were walking down the street and some guy jumped out and tried to mug you and grab your handbag, do you expect men to defend you? And the answer is yes. So when a woman is mugging a man in the divorce courts and criminally abusing him, do you have any obligation to help him? No. And that's not a problem.
Yeah,
And they'll actually say that.
and you
And
don't
that's not
see
a
that
problem.
there's a problem here, huh? You think
That's,
that such a double standard to see. Well, Peter, you owe her a living because she has a hoe,
yeah,
right?
you owe her a living.
And
She's
you
getting that.
have to do whatever she says because she has a hoe. And
Yeah,
it's all about herself, and you have to please her regardless of what. Okay, But don't worry, Peter. Even though you did 5,000 things for her this year, and she done one thing for you, you're gonna hear about that one thing for the next 20 years, and everything you done for her don't mean jack squat.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. The electronic man is saying in the chat, what do you think the order followers, police, and you can put the military in there as well, karma is going to be for going along with all this? Over time, I mean, the military and the police and guys like that, the men who went along with it, over time, they'll be forced to take the jab. They'll get sick. They'll have problems and blah blah blah, and they'll be treated just like every other man, right? They'll be treated as disposable, useless idiots. So the guys who are the police and the armed services, they'll be in no better position. I mean, they'll be treated badly later, but they'll still be treated badly in their order. I mean, electronic man, if you stop and think about what happened in Russia, right? In Russia, they had no fault divorce just for 20 years, from 1917 to 1936, and just completely destroyed the family. And you had all these kids growing up in this period with divorces and all the rest of it. Well, what did Stalin do with all those young men who'd grown up in that period? He made sure that lots and lots and lots of them got killed off during the war. Didn't give them enough weapons. A lot of those guys got shot by their own troops, etc. So if you stop and think about what happened to the soldiers, etc., in Russia during World War II, and the very large numbers of men who were killed, well, the police and the armed services, if push comes to shove and they're shooting, there's civil unrest, they'll be, the police and the armed services will be shooting the civilian men, and the civilian men will be fighting back, and they'll kill off a fair amount of each other. But it's not looking good. My view is it's not looking good for the guys in the police and the armed services, and haven't helped any area where the Muslims actually impose Islam and Sharia. If you look in places like Australia and Ireland, where I support Islam and Sharia, if Muslim men impose Islam and Sharia, what do you think they're going to do to the police and the armed services?
You're gonna
They're
hear.
going to get
You're gonna hear a whole lot of this.
yeah, they're going to get rid of them and replace the police and the armed services with their own guys. I mean, people were shocked. I've been talking to people about the Muslim community patrols, right? MCPs in various areas in the US, and they dress like police officers. They're doing their cars up like police officers, and so the Muslim men are moving forward with their agenda, and their agenda is obviously to impose Islam and Sharia. And if they do impose Islam and Sharia, there's going to be no need for the old world judges and the old world lawyers and the old world police, and maybe some need for some men in the armed services.
Well,
But they're going to want they're
you
going to
gotta
want their Muslim
remember.
buddies to do that.
You gotta remember that all the judges and all the courts worldwide, well, they also have that Rockefeller, Rothschild, the 13 families. They also got that peanuts in their mouth too.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they
But
follow
that
their
just
orders. I mean, what do you got? Maritime law on land?
well, you've got the uniform commercial code now,
Yeah,
the next generation of it.
yeah.
But they're all just minions. The judges and the politicians and all these guys, they're all just minions, and they're all expendable at the end of the day, right?
They are
So once
useless
the pop
pawns.
Yep. Once the population goes down, there'll be a similar percentage of them still sitting around. But as the population goes down, the number of say police officers needed, the number of judges, lawyers, politicians needed, well, they'll go down as well,
That
right?
becomes less and less and less.
Yeah. So the depopulation program won't stop at the front door of the average police officer. It won't stop at the front door of the average politician,
No.
right?
Well, but
Because
I do like the fact that half the United States almost was on fire, and from Mexico to Canada, but the fire was a lot like your smartphone. It was a smart fire. It
yeah,
knew that was a border, and it couldn't cross that border. So what happened when people started saying that? They set a little bunch of little fires over in Mexico to say, "Look, it crossed."
I didn't hear about that. I didn't hear
Yep,
about
they
some
did. They
fires in
actually set a
Mexico.
bunch of little fires over in Mexico. I thought that was funny as hell. It's like,
Uh,
yeah, right.
yeah, but yeah, the electronica man. It's not going to be a fun time to be a police officer or in the armed services down the track. But
No.
those guys are going to follow orders and do what they're told. in the hope that they'll be later on the list. That's basically what's going to happen.
Well, yeah, but once they get the population where they want it ain't gonna matter because now we'd have no more use for you. And thank you for being stupid, boom, because you're gone too. We get our
Yeah,
number where we want it. We get the chip inside your baby's head and your head, and you're the perfect little android now. While somebody sits at their computer and punches in your next thought. Just think about the thought police. That's coming.
yeah. The human machine interface is coming, and if there's one thing I wouldn't take a quote human machine interface. I'd say not sticking that chip in my head. That's not happening, right?
Nope, nope, not doing that. Nope, you're not giving me a jab. You're not putting no potato chips in my head. You know, it's just if you want to take your new passport and put it in the microwave for like 5 seconds, that's all it takes. You won't have to worry about that chip no more. But there'll be a hole in your passport where it burned out. They may not like you for that. But
Yeah,
that's really what it is. You're either going to get a magnet, demagnetize the magnetic strip, but with the chip in there, sorry, you're going to have to put it in the nuker for like 5 seconds so that you can
yeah,
deactivate the chip as it pops.
yeah. So I don't think it's going to be a fun time to be a police officer or a in the armed services down the track. But they just that just happens later. Basically, that
Yes.
happens later.
Well, to electronic man, you need to understand for the last 25, 30 years, when you become a cop in America, if you recognize the Constitution, if you recognize human rights, they won't hire you. You have to
Oh
be
yeah.
a bully mentality and dumb as a box of rocks and willing to follow any order. And then they program these cops when they're through their boot camp and in their training, and then when they actually get a job to follow their orders. Well, they get different classes they have to go to in seminars that teaches them to act the way they're acting, to do what they're doing. And why is that? Because we need them to do what they're doing so that people get mad at them, so that we can divide and conquer.
Yeah. I mean, they've been recruiting for police officers, particularly in Australia. It's been very noticeable. They've been recruiting guys that are borderline crazy for decades in the Australian police force. I
Yep.
mean, you can literally. The last time I was in Australia was 2009, right? And I was noticing, in interactions with regular police officers, at traffic stops and things like the random breath testing and things like that. And I would always give them a mouthful about what it is that they were doing. I could notice over time that they were getting more and more crazy. Well, the last time I was down there in 2009, these guys, I was in a Westfield shopping town, which is a bit like a big shopping mall, right? And I was just having lunch in this shopping mall, and these guys came through, two police officers dressed in all black and all the rest of it, no helmets, but all black, carrying M16s in a shop in a like a the food court of a shopping mall. And so I got up. I just finished eating, so I got up and gave these guys a really good mouthful about how they're part of the problem. And you could see in their eyes, these guys were batshit crazy. They wanted to do something, but in the middle of a shopping mall, not. But that look in a man's eye when he's batshit crazy. He doesn't like what you're saying. He's not going to do anything, but he's batshit crazy and doesn't like how you're speaking to him. Oh, and I'm looking at this going like, these guys are crazy, and they've got M16s walking around a freaking food mall in Sydney, Australia. This is not good. And that was 2009, right? 2009.
I like what Held by the Dashboard Light says. I hear ballots are a great way of speaking up.
Yeah, a great way. I mean, I'll give an example of how long this tuning has been going on. When I was in London in 2009, same time period, I come home one day. No, 2010. I come home one day from work. just on the train. This is just suburban London, and nothing's going on, right? No terrorist attack, nothing, no news, nothing's going on. And I get home, and there's a heavily armed, like M16 dude at the top of each set of stairs at the train station, and another one when you get to the first crosswalk, and another one out the front of the train station. There's like four guys standing there with submachine guns. And I'm walk over to them and I go, guys, you are part of the problem. You're not here to protect anybody. You're here to program people to get them used to seeing guys dressed in black carrying machine guns. And these guys are like, no. We've just been deployed to make sure people understand that they're safe. I'm like,
Oh yeah, right,
you can't pull
right.
that, you can't pull that shit on me. I know what's going on. And the guy's arguing. I was arguing with the guy out the front because I just walked past the first three guys. But when I got out to the front, there's another guy. I'm like, so I thought I'd start an argument with him and see what he did.
I feel like when I went to the Philippines. I got off the freaking plane in Manila, nothing, right? I waited 5 hours in the airport, and then I got on another little plane across the islands. Went to
Yeah,
the island I was going to, landed, got off the plane, walked in the airport, went to get my luggage, and this little Filipino guy's determined he's got to carry my luggage. And determined he's after that peso, he's after that money because I'm a rich man, I'm from America, right? I
yeah.
walked
Definitely
outside,
still.
and the first thing I saw was four military guys standing there with M16s in their hand, and I said, "Oh, wrong stop. Get back on the plane." I had to myself,
Well, that's normal in the Philippines, right?
"Yes, yes."
That's very normal. I
Well,
mean,
in
I
the
was at
Philippines is an example of what you're going to see here in the streets of America, because the Philippines, even in the big city I was in, they only had like two policemen in their whole police force in a big city, and you're going, "Why?" And then you dawns on you. That's because everywhere you go, there's military standing around with fucking guns in their hand, going to a bank. You know, there ain't nobody robbing a bank in the Philippines because you better
oh
take
yeah,
an army with you because you ain't robbing a bank in the Philippines. You have
yeah.
military outside the door, military inside the bank, armed fully and ready to go. So you just go ahead
Yeah.
and, you can't even go to the grocery store in the Philippines without emptying your pockets into a thingy and only allowed to take the money in with you, and that's it. Everything else has to in the basket with military with guns in their hands.
Yeah.
So
What period was that? Because I was there a lot in the second half of the 90s.
I was in there and I was over there like 2006.
Oh, okay. So it's gotten worse.
Yeah, we went from her city to another city where they had me. I mean, I freaked out. I go into her house and she's got like we have skylights in our communities, right? Well,
Yeah.
she's got a skylight that has a garden underneath it and no roof there. So when
Yeah.
it rains,
Yeah.
it comes down and waters the garden in the house, right?
Oh, okay.
And then she's
Okay.
got no hot water heater. Well, no, we can't have that. That's only for the wealthy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And her stove was what we would use for camping. Okay.
Yeah.
She had to
Yeah.
go fill her tank to cook. Okay. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then of course her laundry, same thing, an old freaking fashioned washing machine, no dryer. No, the
Yeah.
dryer's outside them lines. You
Yeah.
hang the
Yeah.
clothes on, okay?
Hang the clothes out. That's the
Right.
dryer.
Go
Yeah.
to the bathroom. There ain't no tank. You don't push the lever and flush it. No. Use a garden hose hooked to the wall and you turn on the spigot and drop it down on the bowl and let it go flush. Okay, and
Yeah.
then you
Yeah.
shut it off and put it back on the wall.
Yeah.
So we go to this nice fancy ass city. We're on our way there, and we're going through the town. And at first, the first time I left her house with her, she ain't got a car. There's a car sitting there. No, I can't drive that. That was my husband's. He's dead. Okay. So we start walking. Don't worry, we'll have a ride in a second. A little tricycle, motorcycle, with a little body in the back pulls up. She gives him a couple pesos, and we climb in, and this is how you get around, right?
Yeah.
So when we go somewhere, we get on this bus, and there's no stop signs, there's no stoplights, man. It's a cluster hell. It's a hell mega main. Zooping in around on each other and everything just to go through an intersection. Well, we get on this bus to go to that city, and that bus had to be doing like 80, 85 miles an hour down that way. Suddenly he pulls over. Like, what the hell? We stopped the middle of the highway. Here comes the military on the bus with guns in their hands. Walked all the way down out, checking everybody out. Then
Yeah.
all the way back down and gets off and tells the bus driver, you can go now.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
that's what it's going to be like here in America. You ready?
And
That's what you call a police state, military
yeah,
police state. Because
yeah, yeah,
that's why there was only a couple cops. Because they don't need cops. It's all military.
yeah. But to be fair, there's a lot of crime in the Philippines. To be fair about it, because when I was there, I mean, in the late '90s, just after the revolution, after Marcos, it was. I didn't go then, but some of my buddies were up there, etc., and they're like, "I'm not setting foot outside the hotel because everyone was so poor they were grabbing foreigners and holding them for ransom."
Yeah.
And so the new guy introduced legislation that said if you grab a foreigner for ransom, that's a death penalty. So then they would just grab the local businessman for ransom, and it was a wild wild west. The Philippines was the wild wild west in the '90s, quite dangerous.
Well, yeah, but see, and even like with electronic man here, the best thing I can tell you about your complaint about the law isn't that you're not correct, but you need to understand something that's been deliberately done. What is the best way to destabilize a nation or a country? You turn the authorities against the people.
Yeah. A good way to have a revolution is you introduce a level of tyranny enough that you'll actually start a revolution, right?
Yes.
So that's how you have your staged revolutions. Like the French Revolution and the U.S. Revolution were both staged, and the way that you get the revolution to happen is you introduce a level of tyranny that people just won't put up with it anymore,
Yeah.
and
You
then
know.
and then you lead the opposition and you lead them through a transition from an obvious tyranny to a less obvious tyranny.
Yeah.
And then rinse and repeat, right?
That's
Rinse and-
exactly it. That's how it's done. I mean, and really what you're witnessing going on in the United States right now is the fall of the United States. George Soros special, destabilize the nation and bring it down. You
oh
might as
yeah,
well say they're committing a coup, okay, but
yeah,
against the people. It is destabilizing this country deliberately. And that's why you see defund the police. That's why you see the behavior from the police. This is why you see what you're seeing going on. Because it's
yeah.
about bringing this country down and this country will fall.
Yeah, it's about creating division, creating conflict, creating division until people start fighting each other, which is
And
what they do.
yep, and then when we start fighting one another, they got to, they're going to sit back and enjoy.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
not
that's
coming in
right.
right away to pick anything up. They're going to let you do it for a while. Then when
Yeah,
they do come in, won't be hesitant, man. They'll have orders to shoot to kill. Don't
yep,
do as they say, and you'll get a bullet.
yep. The electronic man says this can be stopped if people saw government for what it really is, slavery. Well, you see, the trouble is that the women don't see the government as slavery because the women are
That's
not
their
the ones
husband.
enslaved.
That's their husband.
The man's enslaved. The woman's doing really well.
Yep,
It's-
that's the girl's husband.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
they're married. No, she's married to me. No, well, don't you understand that the priester who married you represents the state, which represents the government? Okay, her husband is the government. Watch and see what happens when she goes to court with you. After she gets through raping you and pelvaging you and beating you in the head with a hammer. And you get
yeah,
tired of taking her shit because she can do it. You're either going to get attacked by a bunch of manginas. Well, I don't even call them manginas, just an angina. Take the man off because there's nothing manly about their behavior. Matter of fact, might as well be something in between because most men ain't men nowadays. I have trouble
no,
finding a real man in today's society. Because you got a penis between your legs don't make you a man.
yeah. Just ask Bruce Jenner.
Well, I mean, it's
Yeah.
like sort of like I was looking at this clip today, and it was funny. It was hysterical because I already knew it. When Barack Obama was in office with his wife Michelle, really Michael. Okay,
Yeah,
because I can remember watching that one clip. He was getting off the airplane with his wife, and the wind came up and blew the dress into her, and there
yeah,
stood the package between the legs. Okay,
yeah,
that was no woman. That was a guy. Okay, so you
yeah.
had your first gay president in America.
Yeah, you've had your first black gay Muslim president,
Yes, you did.
basically.
That's basically what you had in America.
But I remember when they were campaigning, and Michelle Obama was going around, and I saw her walking away. There was a shot where she was walking away. I'm like, that's a dude. Look at those shoulders. So I've never seen a woman with shoulders like that. She had this drop down back dress at the back. And I remember looking at it at the time going, that's got to be a dude. I've never seen a woman look like
Yeah.
that.
After I
Like
saw
she
the
looked,
package between the legs and the windstorm, I looked really hard after that, and I seen the shoulders, like you just said, and then I noticed
yeah,
the Adam's apple, and
yeah.
I said,
Well, the
"Yep,
Adam's apple was
that's a
much less
man."
visible,
Yeah.
but I've been in. Let's just say I've been in plenty of locker rooms and sporting events and playing sport and all that. And you know the difference between a guy's shoulders stripped naked and a woman's shoulders stripped naked. For goodness' sake, there's a fairly significant difference between those two. And,
They're
and so
supposed to be anyhow, right? Right?
they should. Well, if you're a footballer, right? Because apparently this Michael guy, Michelle slash Michael guy, used to play football in high school, right? And if you're a football player and you're fairly buff, you look very different from behind than a woman does, right?
Right.
Yeah. And I just remember when they were campaigning, it's like that's got to be a dude, doesn't it? And I'll never forget it. I was like, that's got to be a dude. I've never seen a woman's shoulders look like that. Right?
That's right, because it
And you
is a
could just
dude.
imagine you're sitting there. I'm sitting there at the time. I can't remember where I was. I think it's in Germany or somewhere, and just watching the run up to the election and blah 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 blah. And I saw this shot, and I was like, "That's got to be a dude."
I think Barbara Waters or whatever is dead now, but I saw a clip. Okay. Now I think it was Barbara Walters, but I saw a clip and I was watching it earlier and it was funny as hell because this reporter asked her what she thought about Obama. And he had heard rumors that America was going to be eventually having a gay president. And she turned and looked at him and says that Obama was in office. She turned and looked at him and says, "What do you mean going to have a gay president? You have him right now." She
Yeah,
says,
that was Joan.
she
That
says,
was
yeah, she says Michelle was a transvestite.
yeah, that was Joan Rivers,
Okay,
and
yeah.
and
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 she
literally
died afterwards.
she died inside 2 weeks of making that comment. Right.
Yeah.
That was I saw that when I saw the comment. I'm like, yeah, okay. I didn't think much of it because I already knew, right? But then I go, she's dead like a couple of weeks later. I'm like, whoa, they didn't take too much trouble with, that sends a message. They didn't hang around on that one. And she was already
No.
old, etc., etc.
Yeah.
But they did not hang around very long on that one because they wanted to make an example. Like everybody must have known that Michelle Obama was a guy. I mean, if I could know from looking at a TV screen from the other side of the world, plenty of local people would know, right?
Well, yeah, and anybody paid attention to anything when you get off the plane and she's wearing a dress and they're walking your way on the camera and the wind comes up and blows the dress into her and you see the package between the legs that you shouldn't be there. I mean,
Yeah.
sorry. Since when does a woman have that package? Not so.
Let it happen. There's a great photograph when Trump and Melania were visiting the Queen, and there's this great moment in time photograph. I don't know whether it was taken as a photograph or was just picked up from the video, right? But you've got the Queen sort of turning around, looking down at that area of Melania to see. So does this one have the same sort of package as the last one had? And it's really clear. The eye line is really clear where the Queen is looking, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, now I don't know that a photographer has clipped that just in the perfect time. I'd rather think it's come from a video of that whole meeting, right? It was the first time that Trump and Melania met the Queen, and she's actually looking at that area of Melania to see if there's anything a little extra there.
If there's something extra there, don't belong
Yeah, yeah.
there. If the plumbing matches up.
Yeah. Do the collars match the cuffs,
Right.
etc.
You
But
know?
yeah, I do remember Joan Rivers died quite shortly after that. But yeah, the electronica man, this is not going to stop. I mean, people don't want to know what's going on, and the pantomime is good, And here we are on selection day, and you had massive crowds out watching Trump, and they're cheering him, and they love
I
him, and
know,
they're going to put him back, and
it just blows me away on how
they bought into it.
it just shows you how I don't get it. I just don't get it. Every damn time we got this is going to be, Obama came in under, we're going to give you change. And everybody's, yeah, and then when he won, oh, I mean, the parties all over the street. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, and then you didn't like the change he gave. Well, he gave me. And I seen this woman. He gave us cell phones.
Yeah, got my Obama phone. Got my Obama
Yeah, I
phone.
got my Obama phone. People are so brain dead that they can't figure out that the government is not for the people. They don't care about the people. They're nothing but a bunch of actors. That's all they are. It's Hollywood in your face. And you're sitting here
Yeah,
watching all these debates, and to me, it's like, I don't want to watch the debates. It's all a damn act, anyhow.
yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
I wanted to watch it because it's just great pantomime. It's great theatre.
well,
It
it is
really is.
theater, it is show, but unfortunately, these idiots fall for it and they believe it. Hook, line, and sinker is sort of like the TV set. If the TV
Yeah,
said it, it must be true, because my TV would never lie to me.
yeah. Well, you try and make the argument that these people shouldn't take a vaccine. Right. I can't make that argument anymore that these people shouldn't take this vaccine. I said, yeah, that's great. You just take your vaccine. Everything will be perfectly okay. Off you go.
Just take your jab and you'll be fine, man. You'll be nice and healthy. And what do you mean they're in a coffin? Why ain't they healthy? Oh, they're healthier than they was. Just
Yeah,
think they're never going to feel pain again.
yeah, yeah. Oh, they're never going to have a bad meal. They're never going to have to
Yeah,
get
they're
up and
out of
go to
their
work.
misery.
They're
Yeah,
fine.
they're
They're fine.
finally out of their misery. I mean, they're in really great shape now. But it's funny, you remember when Hillary was running against Trump, the cousins, putting on
Yeah,
their show, most people didn't catch it because I'd posted a video a few weeks back and I showed everybody a news report where they were in the school and a 9-year-old girl had she was either 9 or 11, and she did a family tree on the presidents of the United States, and she thought she was big because she discovered that all of the presidents back to George, right back to George Washington, clear up with the exception of only one president, they were all family tree. They were all related.
yeah,
And then I
yeah,
think about the illusion they sowed you as a child. In school, you were told that if you do a great job one day, you could be the president. Well, hold on. If you're not family, you ain't never gonna be a president.
Hey, you're not a member of the family. You don't get to hold that position, right?
Exactly. You got to be a member of the family in order to hold that position.
Yeah, because compliance. I mean, in the JFK case, Kennedy Senior had a stroke, right? And
Yeah.
when he had his stroke, he was less able to keep young JFK in line. And young JFK thought, well, my dad's getting on and he's had a stroke, etc., etc., and I'm the president, so I must be able to get something done around here. It's like, nope, you can't get anything done around here.
No.
The reason that you're here is because you're supposed to be compliant. You're a handsome young man with a beautiful wife and kids and blah blah blah. You're setting the example, but you're supposed to be compliant. And he got a little bit too non-compliant, they shot him. Right?
Yeah, that's really what happened, and the reality is this. I'm watching a repeat because I watched Trump and Hillary, and through the entire show, Hillary was sick. Hillary collapsed on the ground. Hillary was this. Hillary was that. Okay? And as soon as the selection was over, not only did Trump brag Hillary up, the girl she was going to put in jail, they never put in jail. Okay? She was suddenly instant care. The election was over and she was healthy as a horse. She wasn't falling down or anything anymore. Now we come up to 2020 and we have the selection all over again. And all year long, Biden's got dementia. Biden's this, Biden's that. No, he's not. Watch. He's going to have instant care. As soon as Trump's placed back in, Biden will be magically cured, sort of like Trump getting the invisible enemy. He
Yeah.
got the instant cure.
Yeah, I think Biden will just quietly go out of public, out of the public eye. I mean, the guy shouldn't even be there.
Well, they ain't got to take him out.
Amazing it is.
They ain't got to take him out of the public eye more than a week. Most people have already
Mm.
forgotten in a week.
Yeah, yeah. I think he'll just retire quietly and go out of the public eye. I mean, what else is he going to do, right?
I don't know because you got to look in reality. If you look in reality, a lot of these people, so it's like Nancy Pelosi. Look at her age.
Oh,
These
yeah,
people
yeah,
are never retiring. They
yeah,
keep holding a position for decade after decade.
yeah. I'm a big one for term limits on all political positions, but they're not going to do term limits because that's not how that works, right?
No, they're not going to do that. If they couldn't do that, that would mess up their Ponzi show.
that would mess up their being able to make millions of dollars out of politics,
Yeah,
and mess up their ability to have a good life for a long time, telling lies to the rest of the people.
yeah,
Yeah,
selling
they
out the
could.
rest of the people for the tool.
Yeah,
Now they got
they
the
could.
good life because they sold out everybody else, and at the end, they'll be killed off anyhow because they don't need you no more.
Yeah. But if you get to Nancy Pelosi's age and then get killed off in a jab, you've had a pretty good run of it, right? You got your ice cream, and you had your nice fridge.
Yeah, you had your cake and icing too, right?
Yeah, yeah. She said it. I mean, Nancy Pelosi's had a good run of it. She can't complain. Like the other guys, like Chuck Schumer and all the rest of them, they've had a good run of it. They've been around. They've been there for decades and decades and decades. Here's another one, Dianne Feinstein. I mean, how old is? I don't even know how old Dianne Feinstein is. I bet she had a dinosaur for a pet when she was young. I mean, they've been around forever. They've been around
Yeah,
forever, and they're all dumb as rocks. And that Maxine Waters. I mean, if Maxine Waters is going to be the dumbest, it's a congresswoman, I think, the dumbest congresswoman. I don't know if she's congresswoman or senator, but Maxine Waters is like, who votes for this woman? Somebody apparently. And if you look at the people that they're voting for, if the people that they're voting for, the voters think are representative of us, well, they got some really brain dead people around there. Like who voted for AOC? Like literally, who voted for AOC? You got to be crazy, right?
yeah. I
So,
mean,
but
but that's just it. You're looking at these rallies, you're seeing all these people up there, Trump, Trump, Trump. Okay,
oh yeah,
and I'm like, really? Okay, but then I'm looking at me and I look around me and I see everything I see and it says, yeah, really, fucking zombies.
yeah, really. Like they're having flotillas, they're having these big long car rides and all the rest of it, and you're like, real. These people are really enthusiastic. They genuinely love Trump. They're really enthusiastic about it.
Now they generally fall for the lie.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's really amazing when you look at it. It's like, wow, this is really stunning. This is really stunning. And there's he's touting the vaccine and saying, it's going to be free for anybody who wants it and all the rest of it. A lot of people will take it. A lot of people will take it.
I see. I already
So I
see.
think
I
that.
already see that going down. There's a
Hmm.
lot of people over there that just hook, line, and sinker. I had a guy on my live stream once, okay, and he was all for the population reduction on the Georgia Guidestones. He was all for it. And I
Yeah.
says to him, so you're willing to die then? And he said, well, no, no, not me. Well, hold on. So you're for millions and billions of people dying. You're all for that. Well, yeah, we need that. But somehow you're above that, huh?
You don't want to go first.
You don't want to be
Yeah.
part of that, but you want everybody else to be part of that, huh? Well, then you should be the first in line. Just
Yeah.
like the people at the top with the idea of killing so many people. I do believe there should be a rule. When you're a leader and you come up with an idea for the people, you have to try it out first.
Go first. Yeah.
Okay, so you have to be the first one to try it out, and then if we see it was really good for you, we'll follow suit. But since you want
Yeah.
to kill so many, you should try it out. And after you guys are through trying it out, we won't have to worry about you no more. You won't even be here no more.
Yeah.
We can move
Well,
on.
you and I opposed it for the longest time, but now I look at this. I look at all this now and just go, yep, we could really do with 5 or 6 billion fewer people. please line up and take your vaccine.
You know, I've
And they're
I
going to
just
do it. They're going to do it.
yep, I've said before. It says let the bombs fall.
Yeah, yeah. Let's just get going. Let's see how we go. And I left. I tried my best. I left. We'll see how we get. We'll see how the rest of the world goes. It's kind of like that.
It's not going to get any better anytime soon. I
Oh
hope I
no,
hope they don't believe that as soon as this day's over and tomorrow's over that everything's going back to normal.
no, no,
Don't
no.
fool yourself on that because no, it's not.
This is the new normal. This is the new normal.
It's it. You're in the middle of the new norm.
Yeah, we're in the transition. But I'm looking forward to see. I mean, I want to watch the count tonight and see if they actually declare a winner tonight.
I
And
suspect they will drag this on. I could be wrong, but I think they're going to drag it on. Okay, I think they're going to, well, they have trouble counting the votes or there's a misconception here. They're going to come up with some screwball thing out of their head. And
yeah,
for some reason, it probably won't be announced tonight.
well, it could be 2000 all over again, right? It took a couple of weeks after 2000, right?
Yeah,
Can't remember exactly how long it was, but I know it was a couple of weeks. I know it dragged into December
yeah.
because there was court cases. There was court cases. There was hanging chads. There was everything. And I remember at the time I was still living in Australia at the time, and I was like, "You guys can't even hold an election. Like, what the hell is going on there? You can't hold an election,
I
right?"
see that. I just see it. I see the night coming, and when they're supposed to have the tally, there will be a glitch. And they're just
Yeah,
going to drag this thing on for another 2, 3 weeks or whatever. I mean, technically, they could go right up to January.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They can
Okay,
go
they
for
could
like
drag
eight
this.
weeks.
Yeah, they could drag this on right up into January and then say, okay, this is it, because they don't take the new position until the 20th of January.
Yeah, yeah. But back then in 2000, I was like, what's going on with these Americans? They can't organise an election. But then a couple of years ago in Australia, we had an election that was so close. It came down to one seat that it was so close. There were three different recounts before they could actually get two to count the same. There was one for one side, then they recounted, it went to the other side. They recounted again, it went to the same side. So they said, well, twice we've recounted, so we're going to go with that. But there was less than 1,000 votes in it, right? It was just a couple of hundred votes in it. And this swung the government a couple of hundred votes in one seat in one place. And I'm just like, yep, the place is really polarized now. It's right down the middle. And so I was like, okay, all those things I said back in 2000 about the Americans, I'm going to have to take that back because the Australians have done exactly the same, right?
Well, that's because it is a show. Okay, that's
Yeah.
really what it comes down to. The 13 families control it all, and it's nothing but a big stage show. Doesn't matter what country you're in, your people at the top are nothing more than actors.
Yeah. Well, that one in Australia could have also been a stage show. The whole thing could have been a
Yeah.
stage show, just to put that in people's minds. But yeah, so we'll see what happens tonight. I'm interested to see whether we get a result tonight, and whether there's Trump claims victory and Biden concedes defeat, or whether we have to go in for a couple of weeks of this nonsense. We shall see. We shall
I
see.
suspect personally that we're going to have a couple, 3, 4, 5 weeks or whatever, even 6 weeks of nonsense before you find out that Trump will be in again.
Yeah, could be, could be. I would not be at all surprised to see this. It's too close to call, and we have to have the hanging chads, and we have to have court cases. I wouldn't be
Yeah,
surprised to see that at
they'll
all.
use that. Oh, the people who voted online, it was hacked, and it was this, and it was that. And, oh yeah, they'll have this old big freaking Sigmund show going on, and here we are, right back to the circus again. But you know what? It doesn't matter who it is. I really don't care which one it is because they're all following the orders from the same entity.
Yeah,
There's
same
never
group.
been two sides. That's an illusion. It's a fraud, okay? You don't have a Republican, a Democrat, or a left or a right. because both of them answer to the same people.
Yeah, yeah. Two wings of the same bird.
Exactly. So,
Basically,
you know,
two
it
wings of the
doesn't
same bird.
matter. The agenda that's going on is going to just continue to march forward as it always does.
Yeah. But there's differences around the edge because if Trump gets back in, he'll be a little bit quote more business friendly, and there'll be a better economy than if the leftist gets in. So I'm hoping that what I'm expecting and hoping for is Trump is back in, the economy's improved because I want to sell stuff into the US.
Now, I would not
We'll
be.
see how that goes.
Yep, I would not be surprised about what was just wrote there about there's a movie coming in called right say Songbird.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
But
and it's about the invisible bug 23 outbreak.
it's by the same guy who did Transformers.
Yeah,
I've seen the clips of it. The trailers are out already, right? And I've seen the trailers for it, and it's it's just the dystopian future. It is Bug 19 mutates into Bug 23, and it kills off massive numbers of people, and you have to be locked down and blah 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 blah. And it's one of those future dystopian movies.
there you
Can't remember
go.
the name of the guy who did Transform. Can't remember the name of the guy who did it, but it's a guy who did Transformers.
It
So
don't
it's a big budget
yeah,
movie.
it actually don't surprise me. It really don't.
Yeah,
I
it's a
would have
big budget movie.
yeah.
It's the trailer looks really good, right? I really like the trailer,
Well,
but
you know, you figure that they do all these things deliberately and it's predictive programming put in your face, and then it comes to real life.
yeah,
Because you can go back with the invisible bug. I've gone back 31 years with it. I found
yeah,
this invisible bug for 2020, 31 years back.
yeah, yeah,
Okay? And following it up, there's so many times they've literally told you for all these years what they were going to do in 2020. And then everybody was like, oh, we got to learn. And then they're all falling for it. You know, and it's
yeah,
like, wow. Just wow.
yeah. They do like this whole practice of leaving clues lying around, telling people what's going on, and then the event happens, and you can go back and find the clues. They do like that for some reason. I'm not quite sure why they like it. Bit like a game to them, I presume.
Yeah. The syndicate, the mob, they're here. That's right. The mafia, they're here.
Yeah.
You
No,
know.
no, there's no organized crime because the government doesn't like competition.
Well, no, I say that the government and the bankers are the organized crime. That is the mafia.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what I meant. There's no other mob because they
No,
wouldn't
no,
let
there's not allowed no other because they couldn't have competition. You're
they
correct.
wouldn't they wouldn't like that competition. We shall see.
That would be like Peter and I coming up with a new currency that's not digital. And we're going to get that currency out there and get people to take it. Well, the guns will be coming for us. There'll be a bunch
Yeah,
of people with guns coming our way.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That would be a very short trip to a very small home, with a very bright orange jumpsuit to go with it.
Because they would not allow that to happen because that would take their control mechanism away from them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
I mean,
that
there's a reason they call money the root of all evil because it really is.
yeah the legal system and the monetary system. It's all there to make sure that the sheep never escape the pen.
Yeah.
And the sheep didn't want to escape the pen when they had the chance. So
No. They
bad
would,
luck.
oh, I'm happy here in the pig pen walking around in my manure. I'm
Yeah, I
comfortable rolling around in it.
I don't want to be free. I just want to be a little less enslaved, please. It's
Yeah, there you
basically
go. Just
basically
give me
what men
my
would say.
football and my beer and I'll be happy. Give me
Yeah,
my
yeah,
TV, my football, and my beer and I'll be happy. And then
yeah.
another one's, I don't like beer. Okay, would you like some? Well, no, I don't drink. You got some marijuana? Okay, you can have that too. I mean, that's what, this is where we're at.
Yeah, you have your bread and your circuses and your entertainment, and that's basically where we're at. And that's not going to change. And now it's too late to change it. So the interesting thing now is, okay, well, let's just see what happens. Let's see what unfolds. That's where I am. Let's just see what unfolds now.
I think we'll see what's going to unfold. Don't be surprised when you see Trump back in, but I don't think you're going to get your answer tonight. I'll be surprised if you get it tonight. But like I said earlier, I don't know if they've actually built this fence around the White House like reports are saying or not. Okay, supposedly a couple 3 days ago, military was all over the White House lawn putting up a big high fence. Now, of
Yeah,
course,
yeah. I
I don't know if that's true or not, but I don't live in Maryland, Washington to find out. Okay,
yeah,
because that's where I'd have to be is in Maryland, Washington to find that out, and I don't live there, so I'm not going to be able to go see if it's real or not. It wouldn't surprise me if they did, because I mean, you got to have a circus for the people, don't you?
yeah, yeah. Well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking there's going to be that either he's going to win by a fair margin and try and declare victory, and they're still going to have riots anyway, or it's going to be very close and they're going to have riots anyway. But I think whichever way it goes, I think the left is going to have riots anyway,
There's
right?
going to be
I think
riots anyhow. Yes,
I think there's
I
going to be some level of civil
there's
unrest.
going to be some kind of civil unrest, and something's going to happen. I mean, and this is only going to be the beginning of more to happen.
Yeah, yeah. So this is 2020, and I wonder what 2021 is going to be like. 2020's been a strange year,
I
all up. It's
think
been a really strange year.
2021 is going to be worse than 2020.
You think?
Yeah, I do.
Hmm. Because if we were sitting here 1 year ago, right, in 2019, and we talked about what had actually happened in 2020, most people would say these guys need a rubber room. I mean, gee, what they're talking about, that would never happen. What's happened in the last 12 months? If you talked about it 12 months ago, nobody would nobody would
Nobody would have
believe you.
believed you. That's right.
Nobody would believe you. They'd say you've been smoking too much of the good stuff, and can I have some, please?
If you go through 2021 with the new norm and it don't get any worse, then I would be very suspicious to look out because now I think this is going to escalate. Now, they may escalate it slowly. You may
Yeah,
have an event here, an event there that'll keep everybody's eyes, blah, blah, blah. But I guarantee before you get to 20, okay, 24 would it be? 28, 25, before the next election or selection, something major is going to happen.
yeah, but I mean, this election it's a perfect vehicle to create civil unrest, right?
It is.
It's this an election like this, and the way the election's gone, it's a good vehicle to create, burning down things and knocking down things, etc. It's a very good excuse for doing that. And so if they want to push more of that sort of thing over the next 12 months, this could be their starting point, right?
Yeah.
So it, it'll be very interesting to see what happens next. Like I said, if we were talking about this stuff 12 months ago and
Yep.
talking about the exact same things, nobody would believe you.
Well, I
And
do agree with a commenter there. Get ready for one dark winter. I do agree with that because that's been said even out of Trump's mouth.
yeah, well,
Okay.
that's what Biden's going on about. Oh, it's a dark winter, blah, 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 blah,
No,
blah.
they've been
Biden's
saying
been,
this for a long time. No, no, it's going to be because you got to look at the reality. Lots and lots of food has been destroyed this year. Okay. No lie. That's fact. Okay. Even
yeah,
lumber yards were burned down, lumber mills. Okay.
really.
Yes. There was even lumber mills that were burned down. You just accidentally have 3 fires of 3 lumber mills within a month's time.
Yeah, that's got no coverage. I haven't seen that.
Yes. Okay. And but unfortunately, if you don't look, you may not see, and it could be being pushed out from your ability to see because you're not over here. I mean,
Yeah.
because they have that ability to keep certain things from, like something could happen over there and that could be suppressed out and not allowed to be seen over here.
Yeah, and also I'm not looking very hard at what's going on anymore because we both know the general gist of what's coming next. So
Yeah.
there's no point. It takes so much time to go through things and to sort out what's true and what's not true. It takes
Yes.
a lot of time, and there's not much difference now. It doesn't make any difference. It's like the agenda is going to go forward. Which ones are
Yeah.
psyops and which ones are real? It doesn't really matter
Yeah.
anymore.
Well,
Right?
they drove up the prices. You got 3 lumber mills that were burned to the ground within a month's time. You have a couple of meat processing plants right here in the state I'm in, and I don't know about the other states that burned down. Okay, you have crops all over this country that has been completely wiped out. Okay, so no, when they're saying the darkest winter, and then I'm looking at what I'm seeing just even in the town I'm in, I'm telling you they haven't trimmed trees away from lines in probably 5+ years. It only
Yeah.
takes a little weather warfare to create an ice storm just before a heavy wet snow to drop branches all over lines and drop power out all over this damn place.
Yeah. I mean, if they're doing things so obvious as not making sure the power lines stay clear, then it's not looking good, is it?
No, I mean
Yeah,
I've
'cause that's
drove
pretty
I
obvious.
literally have drove all of this town looking and I can just step outside my door and I've got a big tree out here and you got a whole row of lines running right through the middle of the tree.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'm driving down the alleys for the lines that come down this way. Okay, we're going this way and they're going this way. But my lines are going this way. Okay, so I'm driving alley after alley after alley, following them, and oh, going through a tree, whoop, going through a tree, whoop, going through a tree. Then I'm
Yeah.
driving down Bluff Boulevard, which crosses almost this whole town. Oh, right through a tree, right through a tree, right through a tree, right through a tree. Okay, so when I'm looking at all this and I'm saying, yeah, we're in some deep shit.
Yeah. None of that's accidental, right?
No, that's
Yeah.
come on, accidental. We accidentally forgot to trim the trees away from the lines for 5 years straight. And I said something up to City Hall. I walked into City Hall and I said something about all the lines through the freaking trees and says, so what are you in a hurry to be without power this coming winter? How would you like to have your power go out in January, February? And the gal looked at me and says, no. And I says, then why ain't you on your ass and getting these trees trimmed away from these lines all over this town? She says, well, yeah, I saw that. And I says, yeah, and you're going to have a power outage because of it. She says, but that's not the city's job. She says, that's up to the electric companies. And then when you look, it is absolutely true. And people don't understand it. You know who owns every utility company in the United States?
Sorry. Yeah.
Who every single utility company in the United States is owned by one family.
Yeah. The Rothschilds.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So what you
Sure.
got is deliberately done.
Yep.
This is
It's
no
deliberate.
accident. Things are going to get really ugly, and
I
people
was just
better be ready.
I was just reading the stigma is saying the crops are destroyed in China, India, and Africa. I was talking to a buddy of mine down in Togo this week, and he's just saying it's really bad. There's no food to eat. He says I can't feed my family,
Yeah,
and I don't know what we're going to do.
this
And
is exactly what you're going to see because this is Agenda 21. This is NWO in your face. It's not going to just be here in America. But I know what I've witnessed here in America this year. Okay, and if you're looking
yeah,
at reports and you're seeing it, this country, that country, that country, there you go, dude. This is exactly what, and I know this is fact. This is not scare. This is not fear porn to scare the hell out of you. This is as real as real gets.
oh yeah, yeah. The depopulation program is real.
Yes.
Don't don't know what else to say. The depopulation program is real. Guys like you and me risked our lives blowing the whistle, trying to stop it, and nobody listens. So
Yeah.
it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
It has no choice but to happen because nobody listened. Everybody loves calling each other names and thinking they're so smart without looking into anything. The
Yeah.
first thing they'll say at me is, well, Bill can't spell. Bill's spelling sucks and he can't spell. So therefore, I'm more educated than him because I can spell. Oh, well, I can read and I can look and I can use my brain and I have a lot more years on this planet than most of you clowns. And you can call me all the names for my spelling you want, but when this shit's coming down your throat, you better remember when you called me names and said how nuts I am. Actually, I was a little smarter than you, wasn't I, dum dum?
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's like I was talking about that um, Irish live stream where the big issue was the women have to wear masks. That's still in 2020. The big issue is the women have to wear masks in the shopping centre, and I'm like, I think you want to be having a look at the depopulation program.
Oh yeah, well,
guys.
I see that last comment about they're using HARP in the fires in Colorado. I know all about your fires in Colorado. Here freaking around August 17th, I was in Fort Collins, Colorado. No lie. And I smelt the smoke. And I looked into the shit and freaking, oh yeah, Colorado's got fires that were deliberately setting. This guy's right. They are using, Dutch Sense actually caught them shooting a laser. Military. He caught them right off a military base and he caught one coming out of the sky. These fires are being started deliberately.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, so no, Colorado's had all these fires going. Would they have 3 fires at one time? Okay, and then you got to go. Oregon was burning. Matter of fact, I'll say this and I'll say it live. For all of you people that watch the Saturday Night Live, you remember Mitchell calling into my show. Anybody that watched Steve Hoka remembers Mitchell. So now, for all of you people who know who Mitchell is, he called me on my phone about 3 days ago, and he lost his home. It burned down because of the fires, and he lost everything he owned. He was evacuated because of the fires, and when he got to go back, his place was gone. He said it was disintegrated right to the ground, and the place next to it was still there. Then the place on the other side of it disintegrated right to the ground. And he said it was all the way down to freaking cul-de-sacs that way. And I says, there you go. That right there would be what you call energy weapons. This one, this one, this one, this one. If you had a fire rushing through there, it's not going to hit this one and then skip one and hit that one and skip one and hit that one. And these places were leveled right down to the ground. And he told me, I'm staying in a motel. I've lost everything I own. I went back and looked and it was literally disintegrated. There was nothing left. So for all of you people don't believe me, see, I know somebody that was burned out. And you all know who Mitchell is. Anybody that's listening to Steve Hoka's channel or listen to my Saturday Night Lives. Well, that actually happened to Mitchell. That's pretty sad.
Yeah, that's what they do though. They're burning people out, they're burning houses down. They're going to clear those areas. They'll be no, you don't get to move back into there. This is all going to happen.
Exactly. Well, Peter, we're approaching 2 hours, and I know you probably want to get some rest, and I'm gonna get out of here. Okay.
Well, I'm gonna watch the election and see how it goes and see what all the reporting is, and see what happens. I'm fascinated to see what happens. We're going to see what happens, and see whether our predictions are right or wrong or whatever. I'm really interested to see what happens over the next week or two. It's gonna be very telling, I think, what happens over the next week or two.
Oh, it is, and get yourself ready, man. They're using weather warfare. They're going to use all kinds of stuff on us, and get yourself ready. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, for you guys in the US, it's like, put away some food, put away some water, because this could get nasty. This could get nasty.
And get ready to defend what you got put away, because this is probably going to get really ugly.
Even here, I buy these bottles of water, which are 6 liters, right? And at any given time, I've got at least 5 of those, right? So at any given time, I've got at least 30 liters of water because in my spot where I keep them, I got space for 8, right? And I always keep at least 5 in there. When I pull out the fourth one, I got spot for 8. When I get down to 4, I often go buy 2 more, right? Whenever I get down to 4. And the store is on my way to the park. So when I go for a walk in the park, every time I come back from the park, I stop in and I get one, right?
You might want to consider stopping and getting 2 or 3. And then stopping and getting 2 or 3 and making a stockpile a little bit, because if shit goes awry and the shelves go empty, at least you'll have a little.
Yeah, the thing, I mean, I put on a bit of weight. The thing we really need is we really need water. So yeah, at the minimum, I have 30 liters of water, and that's about 20 days, right? You
Yeah.
can survive on that for about 20 days. And I've got always got food in the fridge for 20 days.
I would say you
So,
want to get enough for at least, personally, this is just in my opinion, I would say you want to get at least enough for 3 to 6 months.
uh,
Because if
my
things
my
get really nasty, this could stay a while.
yeah, my place is pretty small. To get water for 3 to 6 months, I'll have nowhere to sleep. I'll have to put it on
Oh,
my
shit.
bed. I'll have to put it on my bed. But yeah, I mean, I look at it and I go, well, at least 20 days. At least 20 days, I should be able to have. I should not have to go to the supermarket for 20 days, right?
Yeah,
So
man.
I keep rice in the cupboard and I keep plenty of water. And then the only question is boiling the rice, right? If I have to boil the rice, but 20, I keep food for 20 days, and I just
I've
keep.
already got my cooking taken care of. Okay, even with the power out and the electric stove, I have my cooking way already taken care of. I've been on top of this, believe me.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
been on top of this stuff, and I've already got that taken care of. And I've been working on getting lots of what I need. I've
yeah.
even got heat almost totally taken care of. I still got a couple more things to get them. Even if the power's out in January, February, I've got that situation under control too.
Yeah. Well, I say I don't have to worry about heat, so I'm doing okay.
Well, where I'm at, you might want to worry about that.
Yeah, you don't have to worry. You have to worry about heat, but I don't have to worry about heat.
Right. Where I'm at, you ain't got heat in January, February. You're gonna be in some serious shit.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it gets well below. You get snow and ice there,
Oh well,
so well
I
below.
mean, I can get down to 20 plus below zero easy.
20 below.
I've seen 20 below a bunch of times.
Yeah. Ooh, that's pretty cold. That's
Yeah,
pretty cold.
and then
That's pretty
and then I
cold.
got the Mississippi right next to me, which makes the humidity higher, which makes it even more colder.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so you're talking about the Antarctics, where I'm
Yeah, you want to you can't have no heat. You can't have
at.
no heat. Uh,
So I've been prepping for that because I understand that the power is going to go out, and it's going to be that time of year.
yeah.
Okay, and
I
if
mean,
you're not prepared, you're going to be screwed.
yeah, years and years ago, like 14 years ago, I was working in Eastern Europe and they had a very cold winter and it was minus 20 overnight and this is Celsius. So minus 20 Celsius overnight to minus 10 during the day. And I'm like, wow, this is pretty damn cold. I have not,
Yeah, and we're Fahrenheit. When you get 20, 22 below zero here, it's
yeah,
nasty as
minus
hell.
20 Fahrenheit's a lot colder, right?
Yeah, you're talking about you could walk on top of the snow and not have your foot sink in.
Yeah, because I was in Norway and Sweden, and it got down to like minus 10, and we had a big snowstorm one time when I was in Norway, at minus 10 overnight, and I'm going, wow, minus 10 is really cold. But when I was in Eastern Europe, they had this cold front move down from Siberia and basically sit over where I was for 2 weeks down from Siberia, and it made Norway look quite tropical.
I've
You
had
know?
times right here in my hometown where I walked across the snow without my foot sinking in, and then I would stomp and break through, and I would literally grab down and pull up a big sheet of snow in my hand. You'd be holding this gigantic sheet of snow in your hand because it's all
Yeah,
froze solid together. That's how
yeah.
nasty cold it is out there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you definitely need heat. You definitely need heat.
So
We shall see.
but we'll get out of here. And thanks, Peter.
Okay. Well, let's see. Let's see what transpires in the rest of the day. We might catch up with you tomorrow to see what the result is. Yeah.
Yeah.
That should be fun. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But stay safe over there. If there's any crazy lefty rioters from BLM or Antifa around, just stay safe.
Oh, yeah, I know. Okay. Take care of yourself.
Okay. Thanks very
Yep.
much.
Okay, guys, we're out of here. You have a good one, and I'm sure Peter and I will show up again another time.
Yep. Have a good day, guys. Thanks very much for coming along.
Okay. Bye bye, guys.